Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Inside Gophers Nation, the official podcast of Gophers Nation of the On 3 Network, covering Minnesota Golden Gophers football. Got a recap show here today as the Golden Gophers just trounced the Northwestern State Demons 66-0 at Huntington Bank Stadium on Saturday afternoon. It was a game that was, as we said coming into it, it was just never a close one from start to finish. John Nestor starts the game with a pick six in the first 6 seconds of the game, and the Gophers never looked back from there. They put up 35 points in the first quarter, 59 points in the first half. They take their foot off the brake a little bit in the second half before some severe weather shortened the game with 6:15 remaining to end this game 66-0. It's the largest win for the Golden Gophers in 99 years since an 82-0 win for the Gophers over Butler back in 1926. So this is a historical rout of an opponent for the Golden Gophers. Just going to talk about the game briefly here today. I'm not going to go in depth on this one as we will for future opponents such as next week against Cal when the Golden Gophers look to head out west and pick up a victory to improve to 3-0 on the season. Not going to break this one down in terms of score. I'm just going to talk about some impressive players, some takeaways from this game, so on and so forth. I think the biggest storyline coming out of this game that we have to talk about immediately is the health of Darius Taylor, the Gophers star running back. Had 3 carries for 20 yards in the game and had a reception for 9 yards before he left. I think it was around the 9-minute mark of the first quarter that he left. On a 17-yard run towards the end zone, he came up just 1 yard short. He pulled up on the sidelines, immediately went and grabbed his right hamstring, the right hamstring area of his leg. Would be down on the field for a minute or two before leaving with the trainers, walking gingerly off the field under his own power. After leaving the field under his own power, he went into the medical tent for a few minutes, came back out, had a conversation with PJ Fleck, and never played another snap in the game. Fleck did offer an update on Darius Taylor after the game, and this is what the Golden Gophers head coach had to say on his star running back. It doesn't seem too bad, which is really good. So we've got a really good positive diagnosis on that. So we'll see how the week goes as he goes through it. But we weren't going to put him back in the game, that's for sure. So it sounds like right now the Gophers are in a good spot when it comes to the health of Darius Taylor. Will he be available for Cal next week? It remains to be seen. Hamstring issues obviously can be tricky. Everybody's hamstring injuries heal differently, so we'll have to wait and see if he's going to be available next week for Minnesota's non-conference matchup against Cal. If we have updates on that injury, we'll be sure to give them to you over on Gophers Nation of On 3 Network. But in Darius Taylor's absence, we got to see a lot of Minnesota's depth at running back, and it was a really impressive performance. AJ Turner, 6 carries for 33 yards. Cam Davis, 2 for 13, but he had 3 carries for 40 yards. We said coming into this week we want to see both of those guys get their feet under them. They didn't get many opportunities, both of them, because of how this game progressed. But when they did get opportunities, they were impressive, including AJ Turner. Fame Ajaboy, 7 carries, 51 yards, had 2 receptions for 22 yards, one of those being a 22-yard touchdown. He was really impressive. The Gophers obviously believe they have something to him going forward. They believe he can be a starting running back for them in the future, and he was really, really strong against Northwestern State. However, the star of the backfield on Saturday was true freshman running back Grant Washington. 20 carries, 126 yards, 6.3 yards per carry. For a true freshman out there, I thought he was really impressive in this game. Strong downhill runner. Did not go down easily, showed some shiftiness in his game. It was a really strong performance for Grant Washington. Not sure if we see him again this year. I'm not sure the schedule is going to allow them to get that deep into the backfield unless there's injuries involved. But, for a first impression from Grant Washington, I was really impressed. And, the Gophers are going to be okay in the backfield even after this year once, you potentially lose Darius Taylor and maybe some others to the transfer portal. I thought Washington was impressive. Fame was impressive as well. The whole collection of running backs was very solid. At quarterback, Drake Lindsey, efficient day like we wanted to see. 8 for 9, 139 yards, 1 touchdown, 89% completion percentage. Max Shiganjansky was also really impressive in his short time on the field. 4 for 5, 80 yards, 1 touchdown. He also had 1 rushing touchdown. Drake Lindsey also had a rushing touchdown. But, Drake Lindsey, we kind of knew what to expect out of him after last week's win over Buffalo. But Max Shiganjansky comes into this game, and he was really impressive, including a 52-yard 52-yard pass to Kendrick Lanier for a big first down in the third quarter on the Gophers' first drive of the third quarter that eventually set up Max to call his own number for an 8-yard rushing touchdown. But, yeah, I thought Max Shiganjansky was really impressive on Saturday. Does that mean if Drake Lindsey goes down against Cal or Ohio State or Rutgers that, Minnesota's offense isn't going to take a step back? I'm not going to sit here and say that. Obviously, the caliber of opponent that Minnesota faced on Saturday has a lot to do with the offensive success they had. This is not a sign of things to come. This is not going to be a world-beating offense for Minnesota, but they did exactly what they should have done against an opponent that they severely outmatched, that they were bigger, faster, stronger than at all positions. Minnesota went out and did exactly what they had to do on offense today. And that includes Drake Lindsey, Max Shiganjansky, the entire running back room from Darius Taylor to Grant Washington. The wide receivers were solid. No wide receiver had more than 2 receptions. Kendrick Lanier had 2. Cam Davis did have 3, but no receiver or tight end had more than 2. Javon Tracy had 1 reception for 45 yards. Coy Parrish, 1 for 24. Drew Biber, 1 for 16. Darius Taylor, 1 for 9. Malachi Coleman, 1 for 6. Jameson Gears, 1 for 5. They spread the ball around. 9 different Gophers got a pass on Saturday. 10 different Gophers recorded a carry. 3 different quarterbacks played, as Dylan Whittaker also saw some time. He was 1 for 3 for 7 yards and an interception. But the offense, really a great day. You can't really take much away from this. If you're nitpicking, 2 for 7 on third down, that's going to have to improve. But, you break that down by quarter. They were 1 for 2 in the first quarter. In the second quarter, they were 0 for 1 on third down. Third quarter, they were 1 for 2. And then in the fourth quarter, they were 0 for 2. So, if you want to nitpick, you could say the third down could improve. But overall, there's really not much you can take away from this Minnesota performance on offense and really, not feel good about. I'm not worried about how they did on third down. I'm not too worried about, the penalties that stacked up at the end. They were great in the red zone today. 6 for 8 in red zone attempts, technically. But I believe 2 of those red zone attempts, one was an interception late in the game from Dylan Whittaker, and then the other was a turnover on downs on the very last offensive drive for Minnesota. At that point, you have your second and third string guys in. Those are not going to be the same guys that are playing later this season against Cal, Rutgers, Ohio State. The list goes on and on. So really impressed with the offense on Saturday. I don't think there's really too much you can, ding them on in this performance. You break it down. Yards per carry, 5.6. We said we wanted to see them average 6 to 7 yards per carry. They were right there. And really, the running back, 6.3 from Grant Washington. A.J. Turner, 5.5. Darius Taylor, 6.7. Cam Davis, 6.5. Xavier Ford had 2 carries for 5 yards. Lameek Brogington had an end around. He had 1 carry for 7 yards. So, you take out Logan Loya's 1 carry for -5. Drake Lindsey had 2 carries for 3 yards. Max Shiganjansky had 2 carries for technically 0 yards. So you take out those 3. You look at just the running backs. It was a really good day on the ground for those guys. They averaged 17.4 yards per completion. it was just a dominant day from an offense that completely outclassed Northwestern State, and that's what you want to see. Defensively, another phenomenal performance from Danny Collins' defensive unit. Kept Northwestern State to just 42 yards of total offense in this game, 23 passing yards, 19 rushing yards, 2 for 10 on third downs, 1.1 yards per play here. Early on, they were bringing pressure on Abraham Johnston. And as we talked about in the preview, Johnston does not do well with pressure. That was evident very early on. One of his second interception of the game came with pressure. Threw up a duck trying to get it to the sidelines. John Nestor right there to catch the duck for his second interception of the game. Northwestern State was 22 attempts for 19 yards on the ground, 0.9 yards per carry. Long of the day was 8 yards. It was just a complete domination defensively as well. Four total forced turnovers to 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. Both fumbles recovered by Matt Kingsbury, who had one scoop and score in the game. 6 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks. Nothing really you say badly about this defensive performance. Again, you look at some of the top performers in the game. Joey Gerlach, 5 tackles in this game. Anthony Smith, 3 tackles, including 1.5 sacks. Emmanuel Carmo, 3 tackles. He did leave the game after a hard hit on a kickoff return. That'll be something to watch going forward. Devin Williams had 3 tackles, including half a tackle for a loss. Garrison Monroe had a half a tackle for a loss and a forced fumble. Carter Mentz, half a tackle for a loss. Adam Kasai had a tackle for a loss. Kerry Brown had a tackle for a loss. Jalen Hicks, the young defensive tackle, had a quarterback hit, and John Nestor, of course, had his 2 interceptions and a pass breakup. Nate Becker got a quarterback hurry today as well. So, I mean, it was a great day for Minnesota. Get those young guys in the game, both on offense and defense. Get them plenty of reps, experience. Get them on the stat sheet. That is going to, a lot of these guys may not see a lot of time the rest of the season, but these are the type of games, the type of experience that really help build your depth going forward. And some of these guys will see playing time down the rest of the season, whether it's due to injury or just that they are coming along in practice and have earned that playing time. So, I mean, it was really impressive overall, start to finish on both sides of the ball. Darius Taylor's health is the big, storyline coming out of this game. Jalen Redding came out of this game with an injury. PJ Fleck said had it been closer, it probably been a situation where Jalen Logan Redding could have went back into the game. He ultimately did not go back into the game. That was a precautionary choice, it seems, by the coaching staff, as one would understand as well when it comes to that. You could definitely say that Danny Collins' Havoc defense really lived up to its name here on Saturday with the 6 tackles for a loss and 2 sacks, plus the 4 forced turnovers. Last week against Buffalo, they have no turnovers. PJ Fleck obviously comes out. Danny Collins comes out and says that, no turnovers last week. That's something we have to improve on going forward. They come out, make up for those 0 turnovers against Buffalo with 4 on Saturday against Northwestern State. An absolute shellacking for Minnesota against Northwestern State on Saturday. Did exactly what you wanted to see them do in the game, and especially from the starters and the second team guys when it was, a combination of first team and second team players. It was efficient. It was clean. It was everything that you wanted it to be. Minnesota had 4 penalties in the game, but of those 4 turnovers, 2 came late, 2 from the starters. It was, I say turnovers, I meant penalties, sorry. 2 late, 2 in the second quarter. But, it was just a game that was never really a contest, and one that we really could have started talking about there in the first quarter when it was 35-0. But, there was not really much to take away from this game. I don't think you can take much away from this game in a 66-0 game against an FCS opponent that you completely outmatch and outclass. It was a glorified scrimmage. You wanted to see Minnesota be efficient. You wanted to see them play a clean brand of football, and they did just that on Saturday afternoon. So a good win for Minnesota. Improves to 2-0 on the season. They'll now take on Cal next Saturday in Berkeley. Their first road test of the year, their first test against a Power 4 opponent, and it'll give us a really good sense of what this Minnesota team is heading into their Big Ten schedule, starting against Rutgers on the 20th. But until next time, everybody, thanks for listening to another episode of Inside Gophers Nation. My name is Dylan Callaghan-Croley. Hope you enjoyed this quick little recap of Minnesota's 66-0 win over Northwestern State, and we'll talk to you guys real soon here on Inside Gophers Nation. Once again, thanks for listening, everybody. If you haven't already, be sure to go over to Gophers Nation of the On3 Network, on3.com/sites/Gophers Nation to get all our post-game coverage of Minnesota's 66-0 win on Saturday afternoon against Northwestern State. On top of that, if you haven't already, be sure to check out our tremendous deal going on right now where you can join Gophers Nation for $1 your first week and enjoy a complimentary year of The Athletic included with your membership. Sign up link is in the description below. But until next time, thanks again, everybody, for listening, and we'll talk to you real soon.